Upper chest, lower chest, is there really such a difference? Today we're going to talk about exactly that, and more importantly, what you can do about it. What's up guys, Jeff Cavalier, ATHLEAN-X.com. We're going to talk today about one of the most highly debated, probably classic bodybuilding, should we say, issues of all time, and that is the difference between the upper chest, the lower chest, the inner chest, the outer chest. Can you train them independently? Now, we know right off the bat, the chest muscle is going to act like all other muscles. It's going to contract all or none. That means if there's a muscle contraction going on, the entire belly of that muscle will contract. So that would be enough evidence for most people to say there's no such thing as going after the upper chest. There's no such thing as going after the lower chest. Now, before we even get into it, we're not going to discuss the inner and outer chest at this point, because there really is no separate portion of that muscle. All right, but for this part, upper and lower, there is. Now, there is a portion of the chest I'm going to show here with my drawing. I'm going to simulate Jeff's chest. That is the clavicular portion of the pectoralis. And it basically attaches here to the clavicle and heads down and out in this direction. And then we've got the pec major here, which is the sternal part of it, which attaches to the sternum and comes across here. So what is the difference? Well, number one and very key is this has a separate nerve innervation than does this part of the pec. Two separate nerve innervations. That means capable of being controlled a little bit differently. All right, so that's number one. Number two, in terms of what part of the pec is working, it's really hard to argue here that there's no such thing as more of an upper pec exercise versus a lower pec. Well, how do we display that? Because the first thing, guys, is if you put your arm behind you right here and then you flex forward, you're going to see that I get this line of the delt. Okay, the anterior delt pops out and I can see sort of what's left over here. And this is what we're talking about, be the pec in through here. Now, the actions of the pec are going to be to flex the arm, horizontally adduct it, bring it across your body, and internally rotate at the shoulder. If I were to do a movement down here and adduct my arm across my chest here, okay, there's no doubt that I have lower pec activation here. Mostly, again, pec major from the sternal portion, okay, right across from here down. There's not all that much going on up in these fibers. Why? Because the motor units responsible for contracting the sternal, the clavicular portion up here aren't really being recruited. They're not necessary at that point. The mechanical advantage, they're at a disadvantage when we're talking about something down here. So down here, the mechanical advantage at this point is going to be the sternal portion of it. So they're going to activate. But when I start to raise that up and beyond, look at the sternal portion here. I'm still adducting my arm across my body. I'm still internally rotating my shoulder. I'm still flexing the shoulder. All three components of pec contraction, no doubt everything is contracting. Everything is contracting, but the only thing that's really working on overtime here are the muscle fibers here, the motor units firing in the sternal portion to get them to work. And if I turn just a little bit to the side, you can see that. You didn't see it down here. You can see it here because it's true. So when anybody ever tells you stop doing your, the different versions of the exercises because they're not useful, that's completely false. You want to make sure that you're targeting the upper chest and in different ways than you would be if you're using all your other kind of pressing motions and things like that. Now, here's one other thing you can do. I look at it like the glutes. When we talk about the glutes as an athlete, the glutes are often underactive, and that causes the hamstrings to act more. And normally, when the hamstrings have to act for both themselves and the glutes, you get hamstring injuries. When we talk about the pecs, if I just showed you here that part of shoulder elevation is going to be this clavicular portion of the chest working to fire to actually elevate, then if I were to do this and hold it in here, bring it across my body, so adduct and then lift up, you can see I can get some activation here. So I can actually train activation, small movement. Just wake them up, like the glutes. Wake them up, get some activation of these fibers, get control of that. It's then going to assist the front delt to do the job it's supposed to. What happens when it doesn't? If you have sort of this amnesia of the upper area of your chest where you can't get it to fire, then the front delt has to do all shoulder elevation, and when that happens, guys, without getting too deep, it overpowers the rotator cuff, pulls the humerus up, leaves less space inside of here, and you can get some serious rotator cuff problems. So you can see, we can take an aesthetic thing of how do I get my upper chest to look better and tie it into something athletic because of what we're talking about here, this amnesia from one muscle when it's supposed to be meant to help another muscle. So a lot of complicated things here, but breaking it down, there is a difference. And the difference is not in the contraction. Muscles contract all or none. But the difference is in how are they firing? What is the recruitment going on? What muscle fibers are being recruited? And the reason that happens is because of the mechanical advantage. If I'm doing something down here, mechanically it's more advantageous for me to flex from down below. If I'm doing something up here, again, the same motions, it's more advantageous for me to contract from up above. There is a difference. So you got to train that way. Guys, I hope this worked out and was useful for you. It got a little bit again into that zone of maybe deep, right? But if you break it down step by step, you'll see, and start doing them yourself. Feel the difference in doing the exact motions that I just did, and you will see that there is a difference. So when it comes to your training, whether it be aesthetic goals, looking better, or athletic goals, you got to kind of tie them together, and that's what we talk about with training like an athlete. It's always going to have an overlap. So I don't care what your individual specific goal here is, there's going to be an overlap, and you still have to train the right way. Start training the right way by heading over to ATHLEAN-X.com right now and grabbing our 90-day training program and start to do things like this the way your muscles are meant to be trained. In the meantime, I'll be back here, guys, in just a couple days with yet another workout. Again, leave your comments below and a thumb up if this kind of helped to clarify the mystery a little bit. Thanks.